You are listening to the Savage FINcast Retro, Episode 19, Savage Dragon 10 and 11.
Chicago. A criminal mastermind called Overlord held our city in his terrifying grip. Ordinary cops were losing the battle against Overlord's super freaks and mutants. Then, a miracle happened. When I found him, he had no memory of his past. I helped him find an identity and a life. Now we have a fighting chance. Now we have the Dragon.
This is the Savage FINcast, the podcast that mysteriously disappeared to never be heard from again. I'm Raven Perez.
I am Jim Purcell.
I'm Craig Olson.
And this is the Savage FINcast podcast dedicated to all things Eric Larson, Savage Dragon, etc. Except you're listening to a FINcast Retro, where we go back to the past to read the fucking issues that kick ass. Isn't that how it goes, Jim?
The fucking issues that kick ass.
To read the shit... No, it's play the shitty games that suck ass.
We're gonna take you back to the past. Anyway, we're reading these old Savage Dragon issues because they're so great. And, I think we got, like, an all-timer here. Like, we got a Hall of Famer issue to discuss today.
A classic, often demanded, the return of, will always be denied.
Yeah.
One shot, Johnny.
Mm-hmm. Oddly enough, Jimbo the Mighty Lobster, winner of the legendary Create a Character contest, one and done character, but goddamn, has just sustained popularity through all the years. I just want to say, like,
you gotta wonder about that. Is it just because it's issue 10, it's still early days, and so it imprinted the strongest?
I just think he's a funny character, but he's also a kick-ass visual.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he's cool too, but I don't know if its visual is as striking as all that.
It's those giant claws. It's those giant claws and the toboggan and the little Popeye pipe.
Toot toot.
Plus, he beat the hell out of Dragon. Stalemate. That's got to matter for something, right?
Yeah, I suppose that's
speech
true.
Pattern. Shut up.
It's the way he talked too.
I'm tired. I'm fucking tired of hiding.
So,
I'm the toughest fucker around. I am.
So, long-time FINcast listeners might be getting a little sense of deja vu. We did, in fact, talk about issue 10 of Savage Dragon not actually as far back as I thought, in episode 76, where we basically did a whole episode about it because I believe Craig was away, and so Raven and me had to wing it, and so we wung it. We did.
Well, It was before we established the retros, so we kind of were just picking favorite issues, right?
Correct.
Yep.
So the main thing about the main thrust of issue 10 as it was, is that it was the culmination of Eric's character contest, reader character contest, where people submitted their character ideas, and Eric picked the best one to make it into the pages of Savage Dragon. And it was
did.
And it was the worst thing that ever happened.
We should, just like for context, so basically this was really like a huge labor. A lot of stuff came out of this. Like, it took forever. It was just Eric and Josh Eichhorn. They were the only people that had to deal with all these. There were apparently thousands of submissions. And there were people who, got mad that Jimbo was picked because they thought he was a fucking joke. There were people who accused Eric of ripping them off.
And that's really the big problem at the end of the day, is by having all these people send in their characters, it really created issues when Eric wanted to like do something even remotely similar, because people could immediately scream rip-off, theft. It just opens you up way too much to accusations.
Right. And it never happened again. And I gotta say, that's probably the reason why.
And the thing is...
Oh, it's definitely...
I don't know if I've told this story before, but there's actually a similar situation with Kurt Busiek on Thunderbolts at Marvel in like the late 90s. They did a reader character contest, and there was a character, I believe it was a flame-based character called Cinder. It got in the comic, and then just became a problem because... I don't know the exact situation, but whoever created it got pissy about something, and so the character was also never used again. It was another case of a character creation contest with a character that only appeared one time because it became an issue later.
Right. Hey man, look, I just got to say that I think that this is the perfect example though for all the controversy. I'm incredibly thankful that this contest happened. It gave us an incredibly memorable and iconic character for Savage Dragon. I think people who don't even fucking read Savage Dragon know Jimbo, is what's so weird. And even I think this is the perfect example, the perfect story of sort of how maybe people felt versus how they ended up with Jimbo, is a legendary Savage Dragon contributor Chris Burnham. You may know him from Die Die Die. He said that at the time he was pissed because he submitted a character and it didn't win, but he realizes now, all these years later, that Eric absolutely made the right choice, because people still love Jimbo. After all these years, they still love Jimbo.
When you look at a lot of the entries, so there's some in the back of this issue, and then for the next couple of months he loaded up his different highbrow titles with in the letters pages he would put different entries in to show you what kind of entries he got, but they're all very dated to the extreme era, and they're very over the top 90s, and I feel like Jimbo has got more of an iconic look that's not tied down to maybe the 90s necessarily, you know what I mean? He could come out today and he wouldn't look so 90s stylized.
100%. You're 100% right. I think Eric even kind of pokes fun at that in the letters column, saying that he had to basically just decline a huge number of quote unquote gun-toting loners. And I was like, oh, he means extreme characters, Liefeldian, inspired characters.
Which would be so easy to choose then, because that was at the peak,
Yeah, oh yeah. But I think the thing with this Jimbo thing is that what's also helped it endure, and we touched upon, or I was, sort of paying a little bit of tribute to that with my intro, is that the creator, Jason Merritt, has left the world a mystery. This social media age we live in, everyone's connected. Everybody can find everyone. Anybody that has ever done anything, you can find a trace or a smidgen of them. And Jason Merritt, creator of Jimbo the Mighty Lobster, it just vanished into the ether. Like a ghost. The man's like a ghost. You can't find hide nor hair of him. The winner, Jason, received the cover art to issue 10, and he received 50 signed issues of number 10. There's no lot of those signed issues. You can't really find them. Nobody's seen the art for number 10 show up on an auction site. It's just he hasn't shown up in any forum or Facebook group or Twitter discussion. Jason has not emerged after all these years.
Does Eric still have the cover to 10? I thought maybe he said that
he said he checked and it's gone.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he said he checked and it's gone, so it must have been mailed to Jason.
And we thought at one point at least signs seemed to point to he might have passed away.
Yeah. If you Google Jason Merritt in El Sobrante, California, which is where Jason was from, you do see a sort of the top result is like a death certificate? That's not quite the way to say it.
Obituary?
It's like an obit, right? Basically stating that there was this Jason Merritt in El Sobrante, California that died in 1999. So this is issue published in, 94?
Yeah.
Yeah, so only 5 years later. And that also would have kept Jason off of any form of social media. I mean, it just kind of makes sense is all. It's a little bit of a grim.
Well, we've really tried to look for him pretty intensely for for a while, for a couple of different occasions, right? And we couldn't find anything like that would, you would figure, like you said, most people are on social media or something, and even if they're not, there's other links or something. But
just as an example, dear listener, of how the social media thing works, the other contest in Savage Dragon, there's only really two that I can think of, right? Was the appear in Savage Dragon, where you as a person appeared in Savage Dragon. And the guy that won that, and he only shows up in one panel and he gets beat in a single punch. He says his name. He's like, it's time for you to face, Joe Blow from Ohio.
What was his name? Was it Warren something or?
Well, we don't have to go into the details. The important part is that guy showed up. Like, not him directly, but, like, we were sort of talking. We were like, oh, man, where's that guy? Is he like Jason Merritt? Is he gone?
Yeah,
like, did he die?
right.
And his friend was in the Facebook group and was like, nah, he just doesn't read Dragon. And the guy showed up and he was like, yeah, whatever. And we were like, oh, wow, well, cool. I guess he just moved on. But, like, with Jason, there's no, like, every Finhead knows that, like, we're looking for him. Like, where is this guy? And nothing, dude. Like, nothing at all. There's no lot of 50 signed number 10s. There's no cover art. There's no friend of a friend that knew Jason back in the day. It's a fucking mystery. So I think that adds to the appeal of Jimbo. I think that, like, kind of like the mystery, like the fact that he only showed up once and then never again.
Right.
And isn't it ironic that some of the characters, the, like, runner-ups that Eric ran the art of, isn't it ironic that, like, those guys did go on to, like, show up and do things with their characters? Like that Arachnus, that went on to become a comic.
Did it really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Problem Child did too. And I think that Crimson Spade, I'd be real surprised if that isn't the same Dan Mendoza that did Zombie Tramp.
I think, and you hear stories, there's just a lot of current pros that did enter, or semi-pros.
I will say the Prick seems like a Savage Dragon character.
So we got to talk about this issue. We don't do in these retros, guys. We don't do the issue by issue, but there's some things that we must comment on.
We especially got to talk about Cutthroat in his cast.
Yes.
Every time I see it, I love it. I love how straight his leg is made by this insane cast.
This tube cast.
Yeah.
I've never seen a cast like this in my life.
No.
But there's something else going on in this issue. This is an experiment issue. Lots of shadows.
Yeah, it's almost like Frank Miller-esque of the dark inks. I love it.
I think it's awesome too. I think it's really cool.
I love all the colors. Like the scene that you're talking about with Cutthroat, where again, I love these early Savage Dragon comics where the Vicious Circle were really, really menacing. I mean, there's lots of slaughtered, like, civilian victims, and you just get this idea that the Vicious Circle is just do not mess with, like, don't screw with them. They're just killing people with no regard.
It does
and
seem
it looks
like
a horror movie.
It does seem like there's less vicious in the vicious circle sometimes these days, or maybe there's just not enough pages to dedicate enough time to really establishing how threatening they actually are.
I'll tell you what I feel the change is that the vicious circle went kind of big time superhero type
Yeah.
villain, whereas I think, as Craig is indicating, in these early issues they're just like roughing up dudes in a store.
Yeah, it's a protection racket. It's still basically mob mentality.
Right.
It's just they're superhuman, so you don't fuck with them at all.
Right.
I love Cutthroat. I mean, at this point, he's pretty well known to the readers. I mean, we're only on issue 10, and Cutthroat's been, it seems like, in half the issues. And I love, like you were saying, with the cast, just that Eric's showing, like, all right, you know, he's back, and he's still beat up from his last fight. It's such a great callback of having that broken leg. But what gets me on these pages that I really love about him is just the coloring. Like, you know, the lights are kind of off in the store. It gives you that creepy vibe, and all you see is the red glow from the outside. I love that. You know, and mixed with all the shadow use in this, it just looks so badass.
It's also a nice contrast because Cutthroat hasn't healed, and Dragon grew an entire goddamn hand back.
Yeah, actually, you're right. I mean, it gives you a good feel of time.
Right.
But
By the way, I do want to like sort of just use this moment where we're talking about healing. In the letters column, Eric confirms that, quote unquote, the hand healing took roughly 4 to 5 weeks. And I was like, oh, that's convenient for an issue. It's just like, you know, from month to month.
Right.
At any rate, keep going.
It's like real time in effect right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you, dude. The lighting on that Cutthroat sequence is fucking fantastic. It's really good, really moody. It's like a sunset showdown. It's cool.
Just the panel where Dragon shows up first time, like the first panel on that one page where he's behind Cutthroat. Like you can just envision him just kind of strolling in there. You know what I mean? Like it just seems like an action movie. It's just cool.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
I think like there's so much in this issue that's just like a visual feast, like little things that get me that get to me. That I shouldn't say get to me because that sounds bad, but I mean that really like just I don't know,
strike a chord with you.
Yeah, it's just like Jimbo in the in the cargo hold of the plane. Like you don't need to see much of the interior of the plane, but you know it's a massive plane on the inside. You see like the cockpit. And it's just a few boxes. It's very simple, but it's very effective.
Right.
It's like I would never think to draw the interior of a plane like that. And it makes perfect sense.
I mean, just like there's so much good stuff going on with these, like this heavy use of shadow and black. Like even Rapture, where just like, yes, I've been going to talk about the nipples.
Her innies?
But,
dude, it's infamous, that panel.
Right, it is. But also, too, like, again, just the way, like, he put the hard shadow on, like, the boob, and then, like, her whole, like, left half, though. It's broad daylight. But, like, her leg, her arm, like, half side of her face is all bathed in shadow. It looks good. It looks so cool.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's a fucking success. I think this experiment was just a success from hell. Like, very cool. Like, the way the city is all lit up and Jimbo's in, like, shadow, and Dragon's coming, like, ooh, it's so good. It's so cool.
I love the scene with the cops, so you kind of get to learn more about Bull. Like, that's another thing I loved about the early issues, the characterization of all the cops. And you get a cop like Bull is all kind of scarred up, and it's like, you don't get a long discussion with these guys, but just based on the physical appearance and the little that they say, he just characterizes them very well.
Mm-hmm.
You get Phil there and Bull, and it's just it was just a fun time to learn about all the different cops.
Yeah, they're continuing the whole mystery of where's Frank. Frank got, just to refresh your memory, listener, because it has been a while, Frank went up into the Overlord's tower, then got completely disintegrated. But then we saw him on a fucking plane. So, kind of, as a reader at this point, the mystery, the plot is thickening. So that's what's cool is this Jimbo issue is mostly a fight. Like, it's just a big old fight showcase. But we're still getting all kinds of meaty little, narrative stuff going on here,
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to say shout-outs to my man Jimbo for throwing a building at Dragon a good, decade and a half before... what's the guy who threw the building at Malcolm?
I don't recall.
I think
The
it's
two-tone guy?
Two-tone, yeah.
Oh, Tantrum?
I don't know his name.
Not Tantrum.
Tantrum.
No, not Tantrum. The other one, Torment.
Torment, yes.
Torment, yep.
Yeah, look at him. He's throwing a fucking building. Definitely, Eric got better at drawing that. at a building being thrown. It's just a panel here. It's a double-page splash in the other one.
I do think ultimately it's a little disappointing that Dragon took a dive rather than have a conclusive finish. I think that's a little cheap to the creator of Jimbo.
I think it was nice
that he couldn't dominate.
Well, I think it was nice that he just sort of said, "Hey, this dude's on par with Dragon,"
Right. I suppose that's true. I guess it does imply their equalness.
Yeah. I mean, they're not
I
really
liked
equal. It. Yeah.
I
liked it
just
too.
thought it was a great twist because you always expect these to be kind of a battle where the lead character wins, and I just, you don't expect Dragon to take a fall like that.
I think it was a creative solution. I think that, and what's funny is, like Craig said, it's not the kind of thing, you expect Dragon to be, come up with some way to beat Jimbo. Maybe if I, lobsters don't do well in cold. Maybe if I freeze him, I'm just making shit up. or he knocks him into a big vat of boiling butter or something dumb. But it's instead of, coming up with some, oh, I must do this and I will win. Instead, he just, fucking lays down.
Yeah, I think you can't forget either that this wasn't that far from the miniseries issue 3, where it's almost kind of the same situation of Bad Rock versus Dragon. So it's got to be a little bit different.
I must ask, because I asked Jim when me and him were doing our review of this issue. Craig, when you read Jimbo's dialogue, how does it sound? Who can you equate him to? How does it sound in your head?
I don't know. I mean, when I read it, it's just kind of maybe a New York accent or something like that.
I don't recall what I said, but I hear Bilbo. Not Bilbo. Billo. How do you pronounce his name? The Superman supporting character. I don't know if you ever watched the Superman animated series in the 90s.
Oh, I didn't. Mm-hmm. I missed it.
But
it was a great series.
Yeah.
You mean the Bruce Timm one?
Yeah, the Bruce Timm one.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if I recall though.
But yes, New Yorker, sort of
Yeah, I think of a Ben Grimm or something.
Yeah, only he swears more.
I said Mickey from Rocky.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good one.
You fucking got it. I fucking beat him.
Come on, Rock.
So has Eric ever really drawn Dragon as big and as green as in that panel where he's getting up saying "let him"?
And he's fucking hulking. He is huge in that panel.
I don't know. I mean, have you seen Savage Dragon 1/2? The cover of that?
He is wide, yeah.
Goddamn massive.
And what's funny is, even in this issue, when he's talking to Nurse Anne, get a load of him straightening up his tie in that panel. First panel. Opposite of Rapture Nipple page of Infamy. He's fucking giant already. Look at him grabbing his tie. With his...
Yeah.
His biceps are sticking way out.
It's crazy when you think about what he looked like in the miniseries. He was kind of just a regular build, and how, Eric's still trying to find his look. and how he gets pretty massive, and he fluctuates all over the place. I
Well,
feel like
even the bottom of that page where you see him in the final panel there, he has kind of a small head, so he looks massive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But funny you boys should mention it. Somebody within the space of these issues we're reviewing, I think it's actually Freak Force letter, so apologize for the bleed over. But somebody asked, they're like, dude, like, did you make Dragon huge all of a sudden? And Eric tells him, he's like, yeah, I did. He's like, the thing is that he's like, Dragon is supposed to be larger than any. It's his standard answer. He said Dragon's supposed to be larger than any human could ever be.
Right.
And he said, and people just kept drawing their characters huger and huger, so he had to draw Dragon huger. So it's already begun, and somebody already noticed it within like this issue. But I feel like
it's pretty hard not to notice, though. It's like, he was like, it seemed like he was just kind of like an Arnold Schwarzenegger guy in the miniseries, or Sylvester Stallone size guy.
I mean,
ballooning.
Dragon is like a triangle shape, but he's not like super wide.
He's like a green Dorito.
Yeah. So I think we should. What else we got to say about this issue?
Not too much.
Talk about Jimbo. We talked about nipples. We talked about the leg cast. What else we got here?
The Fiend's
Is this
introduced.
the first appearance of Fiend? Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think it's the first appearance of Mace.
I think it's the first appearance of R.R. Richards, isn't it?
Possibly also.
Probably. Yeah.
Many firsts.
Many firsts. I also
love, go ahead.
Oops, go ahead. No, you go.
No, you go.
I said we reviewed this. You go.
The only other thing I was going to say is this is kind of like the reveal that Frank is still alive, right?
That's what I was going to say.
Know? Okay, all right. I didn't want to steal it from you. That's why I said you go.
And
no, dude.
And he has a baby.
I love
and the birth of Frank Jr.
Yeah. I love how Eric doesn't give us the satisfaction of showing us Frank's face. Like It's like it's got to be him, right?
No, it's R.R. Richards.
Kind of the side. Yeah.
Thrill Me is so 90s, dude.
Yeah, I love that too. It's so cocky. Thrill me.
Thrill me.
I'm going to answer the phone that way from now on. When I'm at
Thrill
work.
me.
Thrill me. It's your dime. Start talking.
I love we get to see Jason's actual art.
Yep.
Which I think is pretty good.
Yeah.
Not bad.
I agree.
I like the dragon.
Shut up.
I want us to take note of this dog, this cartoon dog, only because I didn't realize that there was more art of this cartoon dog because I never read Freak Force. And
with the hole? Like,
yes. So I just wasn't prepared for that, was all. I've seen this cartoon dog, and it's stuck in my memory as being exceptionally professional.
Yes.
I was like, that is a really professional cartoon dog. Ultra Dog, Greg, you should have done something with Ultra Dog. He really stuck with me. But then when we see the hole punched through Dragon, I was like, God damn, what? It's not. I also think the old man is shockingly well done. Like, it's kind of like.
I kind of like the pyramid guy. He looks like a muscle figure.
I do too, dude. I like him a lot. And I don't mean ironically either. I mean, I think he's awesome.
Wait, which one's the pyramid guy? Oh, that guy. No.
Yeah. Look at way down in the little cutout box.
Oh, him. Oh, okay. Yeah.
And
Pyramid Man.
Child, the werewolf.
So
The
good.
problem child werewolf guy looks like Sam Keith to me.
He looks like the fucking yes, definitely Sam Keith. But like, who was the artist that drew Dragon all like fucking crazy looking, like standing on the heap of bullets?
Oh, I have no idea.
John Cleary.
Cleary, yeah, dude. Yes. Goddamn, so on. This blue dude, what is his name? The Fly Slayer? Like, what the hell? Why is he the Fly Slayer?
Who knows?
Yes. This is pretty meaty back matter, too. We get to see a picture of Dung.
Yes,
The real
the
dung.
real dung. Bidet.
UI.
UI.
Oi, nay.
Bada.
It's weird that I am older than Eric when this was published.
Yeah, you look at, he's 31 here, and it's like, what? Seems like such a baby. But when I was reading this, it seems so old.
Yeah. It's funny how that works, isn't it?
Crazy.
Take note. He likes Amy Mann. That's going to be important in a minute.
So I guess for the listeners who, obviously we don't have video showing this, but we're looking at the last couple of pages where, why is it called extremely obscene? Was that running through all the Image comics? It's like two kind of in-house type.
I mean, the name Extreme with the X makes me think it's Liefeld specifically, but...
Right, that's why it's weird. So it's basically an Eric profile, kind of like they did in the Marvel comics, and then May releases for Highbrow, which is not Highbrow yet, right? Yeah,
not yet.
No Highbrow yet.
Yeah, we'll get to that very soon.
So we see that the May releases, Savage Dragon 10, which we're looking at, Freak Force 6, and Vanguard 6.
They've been Jimboized.
It's amazing how many letters there are too on these early issues.
Mm-hmm.
6 pages.
I do want to say, as a kid, I was thrilled that you could spell shit with $, exclamation point plus.
It's like writing boob, writing boob on your calculator.
Yeah. Just it felt naughty.
There's some
the letters.
There's some Dart fan art, which I like to call farts.
Well, it is funny to think of Dragon and Dart drawn in somewhat a romantic pose. But definitely not. Never happened.
My favorite thing is the picture of the kid trick-or-treating.
Yes,
he just writes, trolling for babes.
I actually don't have any notes for this. These are surprisingly uneventful letters. And yet, my one note for this is trolling for babes.
We need to find Andrew Sprague.
Be like, Andrew, it's time to come home. I do want to say that it is kind of nice. We got Olav and we got Augie, but I'm pretty sure Christopher Majunkin's still reading.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yep, pretty sure we interact with Chris on a regular basis. It's pretty cool. I don't have any notes for this, guys, so there's no real standout letters other than trolling for babes.
There's someone named Joe L. and then in parentheses prostate.
What?
His nickname is Prostate?
Listen, these letters pages, the people writing letters, if people think that the world got weird with the internet, I've got some goddamn notes for the upcoming, Joe L. Prostate. I see it now. Holy cow.
Yeah, I mean, back in the 90s, of course, when all you had were the letter pages, they were a freaking book worth of freaking letters every issue. In fact, this is one of the first ones to go all the way to the back cover.
Yeah.
It's good, dude. It's
so
good.
Many letters.
I love it. They're like a time capsule.
Absolutely.
And I do think that it's worth noting that... nope, he doesn't say it here. Never mind, it just cuts right into a letter. Basically, we'll get into what I was going to say in literally the next issue, so never mind. The only thing, there was the note trolling for babes, but also I do have another note. Eric promises Chris McJunkin, who has 2 letters in this one, that video games are coming.
Oh, he does promise that.
We're waiting.
Yep, they're coming, guys. Yeah, I wrote in my notes, video games are coming, LOL. Of course, we know all these years later that Eric doesn't give shit about video games, and they are never coming. It's not coming. Let those dreams die.
Liefeld and McFarlane must have been talking into his ear about the importance of branding.
I wish they had talked harder. Hey, that was a good-ass issue. Before we move on, just any closing thoughts you guys have?
No, I think it's just memorable. I think the character is memorable. I think it's one of the first kind of art experiments.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of good first appearances, and just the ending, like Eric tends to do, just always kind of just a good package. This feels like so much happens when not really that much does happen, because you have such a big brawl in the middle of the page, but in the middle of the book. But you get to meet Jimbo. You get this kind of matchup again with Cutthroat. You get some backstory with Rapture, the main event with Jimbo, and then all these like extra reveals in the last couple of pages. Fiend, R.R. Richards, what's his name, Mace, and the reappearance of what's his name, Frank. It's just it's really packed in there.
Yeah, dense,
and it doesn't feel like it's too much. Just a good issue. Just really good pacing.
I would, like I said, this is one of those all-timers. When me and Jim did this as a backup, it was literally because we were just like, well, we got to do a standout issue. And then this was literally our go-to. Like, we went right to number 10 because we were like, it's an all-time issue. Like, all these years later, like, we're up to like, what, 256 or something like that as of this recording. And, issue 10, still a standout after all these years.
I mean, it's probably an easy target, but I feel like if something similar was done with an Extreme book, it would be like 12 pages of a matchup and then like, some other story in the back. And, you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Eric was able to take this contest and make it into the book and not the book just be about the matchup. You know what I mean? There's so much more in it.
Right. Kind of like, I got an example we can pick up on a not extreme thing. When Supreme fought Omni-Man, just felt like a throwaway issue, basically.
Right.
Like, kind of like, it was like, not much happened. And it's just like, it would have been real easy for Jimbo to just show up and that be the issue and nothing eventful happen. But like you said, it's jam-fucking-packed. It's dense. You get to spend time meeting the supporting cast in the police precinct, for crying out loud.
Right.
Effortless. Just saying, effortless, man. Eric makes it seem effortless. He juggled all that shit in there and had a kick-ass fight scene dominate most of the book, and still it was dense.
Right.
Moving right along. Can anyone tell me why Savage Dragon issue number 11 would have the word Savage Dragon under the image eye?
I think it was back in the day when covering up the logo was considered dangerous.
That makes sense then.
Make sure you knew it was Savage Dragon and
not somewhat.
I mean, he's not on the cover that much, very well. His face is hidden. You wouldn't know it was him.
Ask your local shopkeep, sir. I wish to peruse the latest issue of Savage Dragon, and their hand just runs past it. I can't find it. Where's Savage Dragon?
I see the Savage Doctor.
Savage
Where is the Savage Dragon? I can't say. Oh, here it is. Thankfully, conveniently under the image eye. Whew.
Good call, though. I bet you exactly that's why it's there.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the Fiend? He's looking rather Spawnly here.
I always forget that he had this look. Because I always imagine the Fiend being like the fiery, fiery thing. And instead, here, of course, he's got that black leather look.
Mm-hmm.
And the lip leather look.
Well, there's like the entity, and then the cool thing about the Fiend is whenever he possesses somebody, he takes on like kind of a variant look, Yeah, he's got his cloudy look when he's just like a ghost.
Good point about the Spawn thing, though. He does sort of have the Spawn cape thing. He's even got a skull.
Mm-hmm.
Little skull. The little ribbons wrapped around the legs.
Shredded cape.
But I do, so, just being above board here, Fiend is probably my least favorite villain of the series.
Really?
Yeah. I can appreciate. I really can appreciate that. He does change looks with each possession. That's kind of a nice, neat little eye-catching thing. But he's definitely not my favorite, and we can discuss it as we go. But
interesting.
Yeah,
all right,
he never was. I just never was.
I mean, we'll talk about it more, but I've always had an interest in the whole Debbie Harris plot line and how it kept going. And the Fiend is part of that, so of course I just roll it all into that, and I enjoy it for that.
I'll even say that I think the Fiend's underutilized and would like to see him more. So we're gonna have some good, we're gonna have some good back and forth. I do want to say, we're not doing page by page on these retros. We never do, but I have to talk about these floating heads. I like it. I like it a lot. Again, these early days. Eric's doing things, feeling his way around the issue. Floating head. Look at all these floating heads, dude. I love it.
Yeah. And we get the John Day head in there.
Mm-hmm. I think that Doug has a chance with the girl with the mole over her lip. She seems like she digs him. I'm just saying.
Yeah, she's giving him eyes.
Giving him eyes, dude.
So's the Fiend.
Yeah. I like the visual. See, the thing to me is I think the Fiend's kind of a cool, weird visual, right? So, look at him, just sort of, squatting and coming up out of, his eyes. Yeah. That's kind of a weird, cool thing. And we talked about it in a FINcast regular, not the FINcast Retro, that Eric doesn't do supernatural stuff excessively, right?
No.
Right.
He almost avoids it most of the time, so it's weird that in, the first 50 issues, there were, two major supernatural villains.
Yeah. So that's why I kind of like it. That's why the Fiend's kind of a standout.
Who's the other supernatural villain?
Cadaver.
Yep.
Oh,
Abner,
right.
Abner Cadaver. Right. Yeah, those are, I'd say, his two most magical type villains.
Can I say I'm an idiot because I always knew Jerry Rivers was kind of a Geraldo knockoff.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I never put two and two together, Jerry, Geraldo, Rivers, Rivera. I'm an idiot.
Is Geraldo like Jerry in Spanish?
Yeah, it's close. I mean, Geraldo, Rivera, Jerry.
You taught me something
Rivers.
too. I thought it was a parody
Gerald,
of
Geraldo.
I guess I thought it was, I don't know what Jerry I was thinking of, but I believe the Rivers part, that part makes sense.
Well, let's put it in a context. Back in when this came out, there was a ton of those shows. I thought it was Jerry Springer, and I thought that's where the Jerry came from, because he's all kind of like a Jerry Springer.
He's like Jerry Springer plus.
There was Jerry Springer and Ricky Lake.
Well, Geraldo is like Gerald.
And Geraldo, right?
I mean, it just seems to translate directly to Jerry Rivers to me.
God, you're a genius if that's it, dude. You taught me something. I didn't know that at all.
I am a genius. I don't know if I taught you anything.
Ooh, you smelly bastard. You know what? Knowing what we know, this is why I love doing these retros. How great is it that the very first guest absolutely nailed Dragon's origin?
That's Dilbert Dusseldorf, my friend.
Is that him?
Dilbert Dusseldorf.
I don't know who that is and why that matters.
He shows up in issue 46.
Uh-huh.
He's the one guy through this whole series that insists that Dragon's an alien and got it right. In issue 46, Frank goes to see him and is trying to find more clues to figure out where Dragon comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And he's insistent that he's an alien, and Frank basically blows him off, and he's like, come back when you got some hard evidence. And then in 180, the aliens actually come in the form of the Tyranian invasion, and they sever his head.
Oh, okay. Goddamn deep cut, Craig. You're like a regular Gavin, dude.
Dilbert Dusseldorf.
Well, rest in peace, Dilbert. You got it right. Again, for listeners, probably every listener knows, but for a long time, Dragon's origin was a mystery. Eric plays with it a ton in the beginning of the series and then not so much later on. Of course, we find out, about Kerr and all that in the Savage Dragon Zero Image 10th Anniversary reveal. But it's kind of funny. to know that Dilbert Dusseldorf was 100% correct.
Yeah, basically when we find out he's not Rodney, it doesn't really come up again until Kerr.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about Dragon's Amy Mann t-shirt?
Well,
what is Amy Mann?
Well, last issue...
Artist, musician.
Yeah, last issue it was listed in Eric's likes. This
Yeah.
issue, it's on the shirt.
More important, how do you guys feel about Savage Dragon with no eyebrows?
Not so bothered, you know?
Which, I have to say, comes up quite a few times this issue.
So he's getting rid of the old man eyebrows. No, they're still in there. I still see the feathered eyebrows.
No highbrow, no eyebrow.
Yeah. I like it better. I like Dragon better without, like, you know, the wispy... I forget who drew him with the wispy old man eyebrows, but, like, I don't like those wispy old man eyebrows.
The Andy Rooney eyebrows.
You'll see him with eyebrows again in this issue.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then they come and go through this issue. It's kind of weird.
Oh, I think it's because he's scowling, so it just looks better. Because if you put the eyebrows in, it would just make his face more complicated.
I also want to say that I feel like this might be more of a Spawn tribute parody, whatever you want to call it, than my first blush reading.
Oh, because of all the TV screens?
Well, TV screens, but also look at the colored letters. You know,
Yeah.
a gift from God.
Oh.
Blah! Hogwash. Spawn did that all the time.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a match made in hell on the opposite page. And it's kind of like Spawn had those letters, like fucking, like colorful, like letters, like crazy. Dragon, not so much. So I feel like there might be a little bit more of a nod / parody, whatever you want to say.
I love the TV that Bonnie, what's her name? Bonnie Harris, Debbie's mom, throws out the window. Talk about like dating a comic.
Right.
Look at that! Look at that box.
Well, that TV also weighs about like 70 pounds, so she's a
no, just
tank.
all lead CRT.
She's strong. She's a brute, dude. Mace, dude. Look at fucking Mace. Like, I just like...
So this is a follow from last issue. At the very end, Overlord gets told about Mace and whatever this guy's name is. I think Blood Axe.
Bad Axe. Bad Axe.
Bad Axe. There we go.
Ad Axe?
Yeah.
Oh, Bad Axe.
BAD.
So he's come to ask Mace to join the Vicious Circle and caught a Mace for his trubs.
His trubs.
You see his axe flying. I
It's
love
fantastic.
Mace's flared pants, like his old-timey aviator pants or whatever.
Yeah, like the little weird jockey pants.
Yeah.
Mace dresses like a pervert. I just want to say. What's up
I feel
with
like most 90
It is
comic,
a
heroes
weird
and villains do.
costume with like the shoulders covering, but everything below the shoulders being visible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a big slash right between like where his arms and his chest are. It's just a really odd design. overall.
Shoulders were cold, arms were hot. That's how you had to dress.
Still looks badass to me. I love that
Oh yeah.
ball
Listen,
and chain.
I'm teasing, but I fucking love it too. It's great. Some great cartooning, great expressions, like the whole Rapture, Dragon thing's just comedy. And then, of course, here comes our man, Vanguard. And does anybody feel like Wally's kind of a dick here?
Yeah. Before we jump into a couple of things I want to add on
Sure.
this little scene between Rapture and Dragon, which
Mm-hmm.
I love this, and I think Eric does it a lot in the beginning issues, just the character building again, and the fun. Like, my favorite things about Dragon are like the subtle jokes, or not so subtle jokes, and I love when he loads them up. So like the whole Rapture whistling for the cabs, and 10 cabs stop. It's kind of just you get a nice little chuckle out of that. I thought it was funny, you know what I mean? It's not something you had to really add in, but it's kind of character building and just hilarious,
Yeah.
And then, just them trying to have a dinner and dumbass Vanguard beaming into the middle of the restaurant again. Just hilarious.
Yeah, he's about to get electrocuted, too.
Yeah, I love that. He's getting zapped and then walking back in the restaurant with, like, just the circle hole in his nice suit.
Yeah, good stuff, dude. Of course, like, yeah, I totally agree. I think, like, the fucking cab gag is hilarious. And, you know, again, lots of comedy, character building. The important thing is, like, Van is just basically establishing that, like, yo, that was Lurch. Lurch got blown up in the tower.
Right.
Not Frank.
And then, like, the foreshadowing of, like, I hope he's really gone, because if he shows back up, you're screwed.
Right. It's good stuff.
I also love the scene where, like, you know, the Rapture and Dragon get their first kiss, and she, like, just teases him, you know, like, for, you know, in the beginning he was like, oh, I gotta take it slow, and then, you know, they hook up, and then she's like, all right, see ya, and he's like, what? Just left blue balls.
But it's a good thing. It's a good thing she took off, because look at this splash.
Yeah, turn the page. Masterful.
Beautiful, dude. Look at all those fucking shards of glass, dude. Fantastic. Fan-fucking-tastic.
With that sound effect.
Mm-hmm. So good. Looks like a fucking nightmare to color.
Color? I can't believe he inked all these triangles. Especially all the ones in the background.
Yeah, that looks
a
bitch.
It is worth noting that, like, you know, I mean, hey, these days that shit would be clip studioed. You would make, like, a triangle brush and just stamp it out. It's like, yeah, man, it's really nice. Although, now that I look at this, there's some triangles that are not colored on Dragon's face and suit.
Well, duh, they're transparent.
Yeah, they're not reflecting light.
Fair. That's fair. I'll forgive you.
I'm looking at some of the background shards, and I swear I think Eric has hidden, like, messages in them.
Do tell.
No, I can't find any. Just some of them kind of look like letters. Like,
wouldn't it be funny if Shard was just hidden in the background?
Like, the most obvious one is if you look at Dragon's left knee on the right page, you look just to the right of his left knee, you'll see some shards in the background that kind of look like words. But I don't think they're words.
I don't think so.
Further down,
I see what you mean, though. How long did you stare at this before you started seeing words?
Like a second ago.
Because as soon as you start pointing it to it, I'm like, yes, yeah, dude, I see him.
Well, there's a W below that. But it could just be two shards of glass next to each other. Anyway.
I love the touch of all, like, the little, the guys running. The guys got the bunny slippers.
Yeah, there's another guy hugging his teddy bear. Just a big dude. Hugging his and then another guy in his underwear. It's kind of good comedy. Good subtle comedy, you know.
Yeah, that panel with Fiend's hand going into Dragon's face.
Fan-fucking-tastic, dude. Fantastic. And the total no-sell on the punch before that really sells it. Like, just like Dragon looks pretty helpless at this point. That's my beeper. Talking about technology dating a comic, that's my beeper. I'm needed. Beeper, dude. Beep, beep. That's good. It's very good. This is fake news before fake news. I just want to say.
I want to say that this guy in the background in the red striped pajamas shows up in 4 panels. Like, he is helping out in the background. He's running. He's at the exit. He's putting the fire out with a little fire extinguisher.
It's good visual continuity that I wouldn't have paid attention to. Very nice. Yeah, you gotta wonder, like, what the rest of the people thought when, like, they're like, oh my god, I don't believe it. And there's Debbie Harris's mom, like, kill him, kill him.
Do it.
So good, dude. Yeah, I like the Fiend's asymmetrical eyes. I also like that basically, like, his resolve is he loses his strength, you know, as Dragon makes sense, basically. And then we get to see again just a callback to him coming out of like Doug's eyes. He's just like fucking, you know, just him exiting the dead body.
Yeah, exiting the host.
Because he breaks his neck after getting punched. Craig, your boy with the stripes, is still putting out the fire on the neck snap panel.
He is. He's going to town, and then some firefighter in a big yellow jacket shows up when the Fiend is exiting the dude's body.
It's good stuff. And then we get throwaway dorks.
Yeah,
Both.
Assassin. It's his first appearance and death, but then he shows up in the Savage world later on and has a bigger role.
Really? Awesome.
Yeah. Yep, he's redeemed.
Looking at the runner-up contest, I think that the dude that did Bast, B-A-S-T, ripped off
Is that a G.I. Joe?
Yes, dude. That's exactly what I was going to say. Ripped off the fucking G.I. Joe bats.
Yeah.
Like,
Wait. So the name of the G.I. Joe is Bats?
No,
Yeah,
it's something else, isn't it?
It's Battle Attack Trooper. I'm pretty sure.
Wow, they didn't even change the name.
They didn't even change it.
Bold
And-
theft.
How about... And Eric probably has no idea.
Oh,
how
God,
funny
no.
would it be if that was selected and it was like,
Here's my original character, G.E. Joe. All right. Just so we don't have to hear anybody correct it. It stands for Battle Android Trooper. And it's, if you Google a bat, you'll see that this Bast didn't even fucking try. It's the same look and the same... it's ridiculous. All right.
Well,
Well,
have a little hologram on the chest in the toy or something.
yes. Yeah, that's... And Bast has one, too.
Well, what about this Chamberlain guy? Could it get any more like Azrael type?
Very.
Oh wow, those are Azrael. Those are not Azrael, but Jean Paul Valley Batman pants.
Well, the ribbons. The ribbons are very Azrael.
Yeah, and
Like the
isn't
red
it
ribbons?
the metal claw thing. I don't know. It just
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I haven't looked at a picture of that character in a while, but it totally makes me feel like that.
No, you're correct. That's 100% correct. Yeah, he was just being nice when he said they're cool. They're pretty terrible. Those were all every one of those horrible, and we see why those fellows' careers began and ended with the submissions that they made. Good job, Eric. You dodged a bullet. This pinup is the fucking bomb.com, dude.
Yeah, it's terrific.
Who's the artist? Help me out here. Is it Body Bags? Jason Howard?
I thought
Jason
it
Pearson?
was, but it's not.
It's not Jason
Maybe
Pearson?
it is. Is that his signature? I
It
don't
says
think
Jason.
So, is it? Oh,
Jason.
yeah. It must be then. It has to be, right?
I think so.
It looks just like his art to me, so.
Yes. Absolutely. Fellas, I got notes. Issue 11 Savage Dragon and some meaty letters. So I'm just going to hit my highlights. And then...
Can we start off with the fake Mike Mignola letter?
Yes. Well, actually, I'm going to start off with Eric is shocked by O.J. Simpson's case, as he is the inspiration for Frank.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, truth is stranger than fiction. And can you guess which O.J. Simpson role in particular?
Naked Gun.
Nordberg, dude. So, yeah, I think we were all shocked. 31-year-old Eric, I think we were all shocked. Yeah, there's the fake Mike Mignola art, which is completely weird. It's just weird that somebody would do that and go to the trouble to include art. But then, like, also, too, again, talking about loving the letters as a time capsule, Eric goes, by the way, though, be sure to check out Mike's new book, Hellboy. It's great.
Yeah.
Just
His
kind of funny.
brands make a new character. I hope there are big things in store for him someday.
I feel like that's a character it's going to be maybe a little popular one day. It's
Oh
like,
wait,
yep.
so this isn't Hellboy. This is Dragon as Hellboy.
No, it's Hellboy.
No, because he's got a fin.
Oh no, no, it's not Hellboy. It's Savage Dragon, as a fake Mignola style.
Right.
Yeah, that's not even close.
That's what you draw if you were described Mike Mignola's art.
Right. I'm going to run through these notes because there's a lot of them. Letters of interest. If it weren't for Super Patriot's flag on his face, Eric confirms, it was an issue with his Marvel editor, and so Eric had to change the character. That is why Super Patriot got replaced with Cyborg X. Otherwise, Cyborg X would have been Super Patriot. So thank God for the flag on his mask, right?
Right.
And I had never laid eyes on Cyborg X until this letter, and I Googled it. It is like alternate reality Super Patriot. It's weird as shit.
Well, I read those issues before Savage Dragon, so I knew going in.
There's an alternate reality Rapture there, too.
Yeah, her I've seen, but I don't know her name.
I think Powerhouse, maybe? I can't remember.
Yeah. Yep, you're right. I mean, you guys saw Eric's pitch for X Factor, right?
Yes, yeah.
Where Horridus was going to be on it, and Cyborg X.
Think about it. He almost gave Marvel Super Patriot and Horridus. It's just like, God damn. And they're such great characters. Like, what? Are you kidding me? Darren Johnson is a 26-year-old man who's mad over Jimbo's cursing. Just funny how far we've come. Augie is rooting for Anne and Dragon to hook up as an item. It didn't pan out for you, Augie. I'm sorry. We got a reader.
Well, it will.
Not in any kind of significant way. Come on, Dragon didn't end up. He smashed her, dude. That's where that wound up.
Okay. We'll get to it.
All right. A reader points out the missing hand mistake that Eric made in issue 9, page 9. As you know, Dragon was not supposed to have his right hand, but he did. Reader says that his girlfriend looks like dung. What? He's like, real casual. He's like, yeah, I'm with my girlfriend. She looks like dung, and just keeps going. And I'm like, what? What the hell? There's a meaty letter that I think people who are looking back at this issue shouldn't skip. It just has, Eric commenting on the John Byrne, Peter David Image feud. So that's worth looking at. It's kind of funny to me. There's a reader that's complaining about the $1.95 price tag of Image books compared to Marvel's $1.50 price tag. Whew, so steep. Those 45 cents, man. Whew. We got a reader named Ben Laughlin who theorizes that Dragon got his brains blown out before the miniseries, hence Dragon's amnesia. His mind grew back, not his memories.
Pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. A fan asks for Virago, Savage Dragon number 2 with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover. Fan wants Virago to return. Eric says eventually. Of course, as we know, she only came back.
Only took 20 years.
Yeah. She came back in 210 and then died in that issue. So, yeah, eventually is pretty accurate. And then lastly, we close out the letters with the eventful letter of Eric's getting a little praise from the writer of Daredevil who says he likes the Daredevil parody ad.
Nice. One thing one letter you didn't mention, which I thought was interesting, was when someone's saying how cool Jimbo was, and Eric responds, Jimbo was not only a hit with the fans but with my fellow Image creators as well, several of whom have expressed interest in having him appear in their books as well. Don't be surprised if he shows up again in the future. That is, if Jason Merritt will let us use him. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I wish it had happened. I wish it had happened. Also, I didn't mention it, but since we're mentioning a little extra things, this issue has the most wrong Finn that ever was wronged.
Oh, yeah.
That Finn is crazy.
Which one? Because there's two.
The one in the back of the issue, for me, takes the cake.
The very McFarlane-esque art.
That one on the black and white piece
no.
is also pretty wild.
Yeah, I think the black and white piece is even worse.
Because I think it's like a single piece. It isn't even segmented.
You guys think that fin, which is admittedly bad, is worse than the crazy, huge, tall fin?
I mean,
yeah, because it's crazy and tall and going in the wrong direction. It seems, I don't know, it's weird.
Well, there you go. That's it.
Once again, there are so many letters. There are no ads in this issue. Crazy how many letters he's getting at this point in time.
I love it. I fucking love it. Love these letters, dude. Such a time capsule. It's just funny to think, like, you know, again, just completely different, like, point of mind. Like, at this point, like, you know, like Eric's like, yeah, there'll be video games. Yeah, don't worry, they're coming. And it's like,
I've sold my soul soon enough.
just he's like, all that, you know, the toys, the video games, they're coming. And it's like, no, they never will. They never will. There won't be a Halloween issue, dear reader.
But there'll be a cartoon.
There'll be a cartoon.
And toys.
I bet there was a video game tie-in for that cartoon that just never materialized. And that might be what he was talking about.
Unseen 64, find it. Find it for us. I think it's funny, again, like Eric's, since we're just sort of spinning our wheels here towards the end, Eric mentions his self-imposed rule of, when he's confronted about Jimbo's language, he goes, I've got a rule. He's like, it's self-imposed. He's like, I don't use language you can't say on TV. And what's funny is all these years later, in 2021, you can say fuck on TV and no one cares.
Well, and he breaks his rule probably less than a few years later, like
Right.
the God issue and stuff.
Don't
But he
fuck
did
with
put
God.
out 2 versions, so the
God is
great.
good.
Yeah, God is good. Well, I think that's a retro in the can, guys.
That's it for Savage Dragon 10 and 11.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. If you got things you want to just say in regards to the retro or the Savage FINcast in general, you can send us emails at savagefincast@gmail.com. You can find us on the Facebook group. You can listen to us on fucking everything. I think Jim's got us on, like, Apple, Spotify, YouTube.
Yeah, we're on everything now. Well, everything. We're on. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Anchor FM, and we have put our YouTube episode up as a YouTube video every episode.
The other day, I saw a child playing with, like, a Jack-in-the-Box, you know, do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. I thought I was going to hear Monkey Chase the Weasel as they turned a crank. Instead, I heard the FINcast as they turned it. I was like, wow, good job, Jim. You got us on everything, dude.
An entire FINcast played out of a Jack-in-the-Box.
Yeah, kid was so confused. He just kept turning that crank. It was like 2 hours later, and it came out.
Raven, you really shouldn't be watching kids turn the crank.
For 2 hours?
For 2 hours, especially.
All right. I'd assume 2 hours would be long enough for anyone to, you know, realize it was just morbid curiosity as to why there was a podcast coming out of a Jack-in-the-Box, but whatever. I'm getting in the weeds on this outro.
And with that,
Yeah, you gotta learn how to make the art of brevity, I think.
Yeah, bye.